let's use CSS to code what looks like a button. So I've created a new file. You will not have a start file for this project, and I've saved it in our folder as hp6-5.html. And then we'll use that shortcut that we know about, exclamation point and tab, to put our template in. For our document, let's change, or for our title, let's change this to CSS Button. And then let's add an H1 that says CSS Button, just so we'll have a little bit more on our page. Okay, so we are going to have a button that links to a page called Sign Up. We don't really have the page Sign Up, so it's going to take us to a file not found or page not found, but at least you can see what the button does. So let's create an anchor tag. In anchors, we always have that href, and we're going to say it's going to go to signup.html, even though, like I said, that doesn't exist. And then we're also going to apply a class attribute to this anchor tag. You can have more than one attribute on a tag, and we are going to create a class in CSS called button. And then let's just use the text sign up on the page. So if we refresh this or look at this in the browser, this is what we have so far. Okay, so now let's go to our CSS and let's code a little bit in our CSS. So we don't yet have a style section, so right before our head ends, I'm going to add a style tag set. And inside that style tag set, we are going to center the text. We are going to set a bottom margin to the H1. And now we're going to work on our class. So we'll probably pause I'm going to pause the video. Okay, pause the video and add this code for your button class. Remember, classes start with a period, so we can use them more than one time. And you would probably want that coded as a class as opposed to an ID, because you would maybe have several buttons on your page. And it may be that you even use these for your nav section. So we added a border radius, and if you recall, that's what's going to round our borders. So let's refresh the page, and you see this is what we have now. So by changing that border radius, we could change this rounded area. So tinker with that a little bit, play around with that code, maybe change the colors, and you can see what will happen with those. Now we are going to use our pseudo classes to make this button look a little more dynamic. So let's add for our button class, because we want to target that button class, and then we'll do :link, and we can change its color to white, and then targeting again that button class :visited. Remember, that's after a link has been visited, and its color will be CCC, and then we're going to do a button hover. Okay, pause the video if you need to copy that over, but notice for button hover we added a background color and a color. So once you get that copied over, when we refresh, it looks like this, and now as you hover over the button, it changes. It makes it look more dynamic. So, you know, for your next project, you'll be creating your own website, so I wanted to give you some resources to tinker with that. So if you want to take this code that you have here and play with it a little more, play with the colors, play with the border radius, the size, the font size, all that, feel free to do so. But you can also visit W3C School's CSS Buttons, and you can look at different stylings for buttons. So it tells you how to change the color, the size, if you want rounded buttons with your border radius, which we did, colored buttons, hover, like if you hover over them, how they change. So you could look at doing something like that for your website. Shadow buttons, a shadow on hover, disabled buttons, how to change the width, how to have groups of buttons, and then even a button on an image. So there's all sorts of things that you can find on W3C Schools. Like this one, you have a pressed effect on click. So see when I clicked it, how it changed, a fade in. There's all sorts of things on W3C Schools to help you when you start your website. So I'll include a link on to this page on where you found this video if you want to look at this page and tinker.